Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. And on this week's show, we're going to preview the pick of the domestic action from Ascot and Newmarket, as well as just the small matter of the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe at ParisLongchamp on Sunday. Joined in the studio by a very suited and booted Declan Rix. A tie has been added to the attire.
It's the big one. It's the greatest race of the year. So, you know, I'm here to dress like the French flag on the big days.
And hopefully to back up your winner from last week as well, the Cambridgeshire, nonetheless.
I think you'll find I had two winners last week, Katie, Tracey.
Who was the other one?
The next best went in which was Sam Snapper. Her name escapes me now.
Lake Victoria.
Lake Victoria, there you go. She went in as well. But yeah, great to see the winner of the big race, the Cambridgeshire. I was just happy that we got a fair crack for our money, because obviously the draw stats suggested we had no chance, but a little bit of work kind of it all paid off. Liberty Lane bolted up, so yeah, delighted with that. He was a nice winner for the show. Yeah,
I'm glad that Tracey's trends steered us in the way of those low draws in the Cambridgeshire in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, well, look, that's what the stats said. You can only kind of work off, but
stats are there to be broken. Sure. Sam, though, you are not lying on the stats front. 8 of the last 10 winning naps for you now. So Lake Victoria was that winning nap. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a really good summer, which I'm just slightly worried now we get to this time of year, the changeover time. Obviously, we'll have one eye on Chepstow probably next week, but it is difficult. But I'm really looking forward to previewing the Arc. And Kate, as ever, the Arc being such a special meeting deserves a special offer, so I will encourage anyone out there, make sure you head to the ATR app, where BetVictor have got a very exclusive offer. Bet 10, get 50. Make sure you check it out. It covers all the sport for the weekend, including the fantastic action at Longchamp that I'm really looking forward to talking about later.
Can't wait.
This is from the South African trader.
We shall wait to see. Yeah, we will leave Deck in suspense and for that. And just because no one else is going to mention it, my nap also went in, as did Wimbledon Hawkeye then in the Royal Lodge. So just to drop that in there as well. Now, before we get on to the action proper, though, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we're going to begin at Newmarket with the 240, the Group 1 Sun Chariot Stakes, 3-year-olds and over a mile. Now, we have last year's winner in Spiral and then Tamfana disputing favouritism here at 5-2. Deck, do you want to take it away first?
Yeah, I think this is a really tricky race to have a bet in, because there's two things here. I don't see a lot of pace in the race, so I have no idea what kind of gallop they're going to go and who's going to go forward. Maybe Darnation will go forward, but you know, she's a 50-1 shot. The other thing I'd be worried about as well, you know, we're kind of guessing in the dark with a few in here. In Spiral, you know, she's very hit and miss, although it was definitely her best run of the season last time out in France. But the draw, I think, is a killer for her again. She's drawn in the widest stall of all, which will probably see her slow away again unless Rab Halvin can work some magic. Nashwa is having her first run back since Dubai in March. She has always been a big horse. Even she was a big 3-year-old, a big 4-year-old, and she's quite gross. And I just wonder with her as well, could she need another run? You factor into that then the Goslings are only operating at a 4% win rate at the moment. In the last 2 weeks, they've had 3 odds on shots beaten. See, the Fire, I think, is probably better on quicker ground and over 10 furlongs. And then El Malka, I think, will be interesting back on softer ground. But look, I think the most solid one is Tamfana, and I'm hoping this will be her day. You know, she was so unlucky in the French Guinea, or in the Guineas earlier in the season. She was 3rd in the Diane, then she was a non-stay and 4th in the Grand Prix de Paris, and this was her running at Chantilly earlier in the season. You know, maybe she's just a miler. They have been playing around with trips with her, but to me now, she just looks the most solid bet in the race. So we'll see how it goes. A big spare for Earl Colin Keane to pick up as well, isn't he? I was a little bit surprised that they went with Colin, but fair play. I hope Colin can get her home. And yeah, it's a big weekend for her and for Colin. And I would like to see her get her first Group 1, because you know, she has been hitting the barn door fairly hard all year.
Yeah, she has, hasn't she? She has just been that model of consistency, unlucky in places, getting that deserved success last time out as well. And as you say, a big ride there for also, but of course, Sheen Murphy, he has to ride See the Fire then, doesn't he, in this? But yeah, it's a tricky race to weigh up, because when you talk about these older fillies of Inspiral and Nashwa, I think this is Inspiral's last run before retirement, potentially then for her. So whether or not she can sign off with a swan song, we know her at her absolute peak. She she should be absolutely trouncing these, but she just hasn't looked that. Nashwa, like you say, she is a big filly. So what she's going to be like on the back of that break.
Well, Inspiral's peak and Nashwa's peak are streets ahead of everything in here, but we just don't know, and it looks like the glory days are gone, sadly, for them.
Yeah, and you've just had a really damning stat there as well for the Gosden form of late. I mean, by their own lofty, very, very lofty standards, it should say, that this season has just been a little bit disappointing then for them. So I can't be siding with any Gosden runners at these sorts of prices with any confidence. So yeah, Tamfana then for me as well. And we spoke about her dropping back down in trip last time out to the mile. Winning that for me on that occasion too. And it was unlikely to inconvenience her. It didn't inconvenience her by any means. And this is looking at her in the Grand Prix de Paris, where, again, she just got outstaged then in this. And you said earlier on, Dex, she was an unlucky fourth and she could have easily won the 1,000 guineas. Running well in the French Oaks, Grand Prix de Paris that we're looking at. The trip just stretched her over a mile for against the boys. And last time out, though, she did just simply outclass her rivals. I'm expecting the same here. Feel that I wish Malka, obviously, a big run as well, back at the scene of her Guineas success. But yeah, Tamfana for the pair of us. Sam, you're going to join us?
I am, and I'm a bit disappointed. I'm a bit disappointed you're not a bit more bullish. That market, I'm not being funny, and I don't like to crab in Spiral. Like it's nothing against the horse, but you've made a really compelling case as to why you would want to take her on at 5-2. Her last ever run. I know she won this last year, and I understand that, but she's a different horse this year. It is a disappointing end, unless she can obviously come back to her best. But, Dec, you mentioned about those two obviously being streets ahead, but time doesn't wait for anyone. You know, that's the one thing in any sport, in any type of event. Horse racing is exactly the same. You just can't be at your peak forever, and you've got plenty of three-year-olds have a half-decent record in here as well, it needs to be said. I really like to see the fire, but Tamfara for me was the one that just stood out. That back to the mile at Sandown was a really good win. I know she was entitled to do that. I think I took her on with Doha that day, who ended up second. But, you know, she comes here, she's ground versatile as well, so if it does dry out a bit, you're not too worried. I just felt she ticked so many boxes. You guys have put all the pieces together. And for me, I was actually a bit more confident than the pair of you, and I felt like a 5-2. I expect her to go off clear favourite here, and I think Inspire will drift on the day. One
of my favourite things is when you start to slate the market. It's your market.
Not mine.
That we're talking about.
Trust me to make markets.
That is very true. So taking on then your own traders there that they have perhaps got it wrong, and we're all in agreement then with Tamfana. You say peak form doesn't last forever unless we're talking about your naps from week to week, though. Tamfana then for the three of us in our opener. Do let us know in the comment section below who you fancy. Now we're going to switch over to Ascot for the 3 o'clock for Group 3 Bengough Stakes. 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. And of course, Ascot's card is live on Sky Sports Racing on Saturday. Now, English Oak it is who heads the market here at 7-2, Sam.
Yeah, a tricky little contest, this one, but rather boringly came down on the favourite here. English Oak returns to 6 furlongs. Last time we saw English Oak at 6 furlongs, I believe, was finishing second in October by a neck at Ascot. But that was some time ago, obviously, and had a really interesting season. And we're going to watch the run back here at Newbury last time out, where was a fairly beaten second, I think it's fair to say. Tom Clover's horse, the winner here, looked really smart this day. And I just don't know where we are with English Oak, but I do want to give the horse one more chance. I think you go back to the start of the summer where obviously the first run in Wathnan colours was a winner of the Buckingham Palace, and that race just is a typical Royal Ascot handicap. You go back through the form and you look at how many horses have come out of that and won since, and this was a back to sort of the right kind of thing for me. I was disappointed in the Hungerford when I tipped him up, and you know, look, that was a bit of a messy race, and I just felt like one more chance back at 6. Softer ground won't be a massive issue for me, especially with the drop in trip here. And I don't want to take shorter than 7-2, but I really did feel English Oak, this is a good chance to get back onto winning ways. I still don't doubt that there's talent in there for the horse.
Yeah, he is. He's a tricky puzzle to weigh up, isn't he, English Oak? Because there was so much expectation of him and he just found himself in that awkward sort of middle ground there, really, didn't he? Where he had seemingly all the ability and potential in the world. And then if that doesn't materialise, it feels like it's just a slight underachievement. But 7-2 then in here for Sam Deck.
Yeah, look, I think this is an open enough race and maybe not the warmest of Group 3s. English Oak has been, as Sam said, has been disappointing since his Royal Ascot win. You know, Giraffe has been progressive, absolutely no doubt, but He is a horse who really has come off the bridle against handicappers, so he could struggle to even lay up here against these better horses unless he's taken a big step forward again. I thought the one to the head of the market that was most interesting was ParisLongchamp for me, and he's probably one of the pace aspects in the race with a day Devon and Apollo 1, and we should say the stalls are stand side. But this race, if you go back through previous replays, they have raced all over the track, so we don't know where they will race. But I thought the one at the prices was Wiltshire for me. Like, he ran a big race over 5 furlongs last time out in a handicap at Haydock. I think it was off 103. And now 5 furlongs is not his trip, and I think to run so well, it was a big feather in his cap. This is him over 6 furlongs on the all-weather at Newcastle earlier in the season, where he was very impressive again. He just seems to have taken a step forward since joining from the Martin Mee team, and he's in good hands with the Haggis stable. And you can see here he's got a good attitude. You can see how he moves there. Again, we're talking about Michael Flatley, knees up in the air, handle cutting the ground. The ground will be no issue to him. I just love for them to go a proper good gallop and set it up for a closer, because he's a proper closer. But I think he's a little bit overpriced in what's an open race. So I'm hoping it's going to be a case of Wiltshire winning in Berkshire on Saturday.
Nice little linkage there. But yeah, that hold-up performer over 6 furlongs at Ascot, enough pace on in the race as well, especially when you've got the likes of ParisLongchamp, who just loves to pull for his life. So so Wiltshire's a nice price as well. 11 to 1 there, so we'll give you that one. I'm going to be less original. I'm going with the second favourite here though, Giraffe. Love this horse, just going from strength to strength all the time though, and of course winning over this course and distance. Penultimate start and last time out that we're going to look at when dropping back again and coping well with the 6 furlongs, no bother. And the £8 rise clearly didn't stop him from winning again last time out. Now, this being at the Shergar Cup meeting, for which he was given a further £9 rise. So he's now trying his hand in group company. And for all that isn't usually an angle that I like, handicappers being well fancied in group company next time. But I do think this lad is that bit different. And English Oak is a horse that I've been wanting to take onto his rise into group company. So I feel like a bit of a hypocrite now that I'm taking the angle, which is the reason why I was trying to take on English Oak all season then. But so far, that's at least served me well. But rather than Giraffe, hopefully he can buck that trend, continue his rapid ascent into becoming a group performer. And if he's going to prove it anyway, it's going to be at Ascot over 6 furlongs against a lineup like this, which, as you said, Deck, does look a pretty winnable group race. Hopefully ParisLongchamp will be too keen. And a day in Devon, love her, just perhaps not quite at this level against the boys though. So yeah, I'm hoping that Giraffe can stick his neck out then.
Well, I'm hoping one of us will have the winner, because we've had 3 different selections.
I know, 3 different selections, and to be fair, it's one of those races, isn't it though, for Group 3 Bengough Stakes. Yeah. So again, do let us know who you fancy, if there's any more selections to chuck into the mix in the comment section below. Now we're going to move on to the 3:35 at Ascot. This is the Challenge Cup Heritage Handicap, 3-year-olds and over 7 furlongs. So our 7 furlong specialist to the 4, and Kirat it is, who is to the 4 at 11 to 2, Deck.
Yes, I've gone for a couple of outsiders early on, but I'm with the Fav in this race, good old Kirat. Just in terms of how the race will set up, there looks to be pace right across the track here, but I do think the horses may be drawn very high, just could struggle potentially to get the best toe into the race. Again, we don't know what part of the track they're going to race on, but I think Germanic is drawn low, Volterra is drawn low. You can see they're there to the head of the market. So I think being drawn low to middle is going to be ideal, and I think Kirat just about falls into that category there. I think he's drawn in 10 or 11. This is him running in the Britannia earlier in the season, and I thought he ran a cracker because the ground was probably a little bit too quick. He was probably in the worst group in terms of getting a set up in terms of pace, but you can see him here. He runs on strongly late, and he's just progressed since then. It was interesting there, Hector Crouch was very disappointed after this race because he thought he was extremely well handicapped. But as per Royal Ascot, you need an awful lot of luck with how races panned out, and the race didn't pan out great for him this day. Now, the race didn't pan out great for him last time out at Goodwood either. He came from mid-division, and he beat a horse called Witness Stand, who went on to beat English Oak in the VT we just saw earlier on. So the form has been frank, but they didn't go a strong gallop. Witness Stand had probably run of the race on the front end, and I just thought to win like he did from mid-div given the big head start he gave to the horse in the front end, was a huge performance. Now, he saves quite a bit for himself, this fella, and I don't think we've seen the best of him. He will love getting his toe in as well, and he's extremely well bred. His half-sister's going to run in the Arc on Saturday, which is blue stocking, so he is bred to be much better than a handicapper, and he's by showcasing, which suggests he'll handle cutting the ground, and he moves like he'll handle cutting the ground. So I really like him. I think he will go well if we have the usual luck with the draw.
And you've managed to avoid any Flatley references as well with that. I was waiting for it.
To be fair, I think everybody's probably getting sick of them now. They probably just remember
that's what I was waiting for. The actual actions. To save on the words now, is the actual actions is what we need going forward.
I've known to do now a little Irish Ceilidh dancing in my time. But
after a few Guinnesses.
I'd say 9 a.m. though. We're pushing it perhaps into be getting him jigging.
And we're not allowed to drink before the show, which is an awful thing. But anyway, please gamble responsibly and drink responsibly.
As we always try to say. We probably say that far more than we even should. But though, Dec and I in agreement on this one. Now again,
Tracey.
The trends for this. I've not bothered with the Tracey's trends graphic though this week, because after last week's Cambridgeshire, what on earth was that with low draws coming to the fore? We're just going with the trends now as a bare minimum. And the other part of why I haven't tried to display the trends, it's really tricky to actually nail this down in an obvious way to see what exactly trends and variables you want to be siding with in this one. But Kirat, though, was the one that ticked the most boxes, of course, as well. Now, as we were looking at earlier on there, his second start of the season when he was 6th in the Britannia at Royal Ascot, over the mile trip at this course. But for all of that was over a mile, he absolutely relished for drop back 7 furlongs last time out, though, which is why I'm hoping there should be more to come from him at this distance. And as you've just said, Dec, he doesn't actually look like he wants the ground all that quick either. And the fact that he was taken out twice at Glorious Goodwood because the ground was too quick as well, though. Half-brother to blue stocking, as you say, a lot of class. £5 rise is not insurmountable at all. So we're both in a bit of agreement.
You know what this
is,
actually? This is a meeting of Tracey's trends and Rixie's ratings. So,
my goodness. But
he's my top rated in the field. I think he's still a handicap, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
The team up no one knew, realised.
And nobody wanted either. Yeah.
No, but it's going to come, well, hopefully it's going to come to the fore.
Hopefully not, Kate, because I need to burst this loving bubble. Because Dramatic for me, I think, is a really intriguing runner here for William Haggas, and obviously in the same colours as Economics. Probably not going to be as talented as Economics, I think it's fair to say, but has also had a similarly patient campaign in the sense that we probably haven't seen that much of him. And in comparison to a lot of the horses in here, very low mileage on the clock. We're going to take a look at the third at Donny, which was the reappearance. Now, I actually think that you can mark this up as a better run probably than it was. Just was a little bit too free on the front end and gets a little bit tired late home to get collared. But I really like this horse, proven to go in the ground, because we are expecting it to be soft at Ascot, I'd say. It might just dry from wherever it is at the moment, soft heavy. But I really like this horse in the fact that it's kind of an unexposed angle. Like I say, up against horses that have had busy seasons. And I also went back through go back to the Thirsk run where he finishes 2nd. That day got loose at the start, was pulling as well. I just wonder if a little bit of a need to have this run after the break definitely will have helped. And I felt like just very unexposed. And, William Haggas is a trainer that I love, that he isn't afraid to throw a young, unexposed horse into what is a very difficult race, I think it's fair to say. And Dex obviously pointed out the draw as well, which I hope is a tick in the box. I'm not going to rely too much on it, but another positive there. And, hopefully Kieran Fallon, who's had a good time of things recently, can have another big race winner.
You can give us a nice lead there to the furlong pole. That'll be lovely.
I'm not for catching, Dex. Don't you worry.
I don't know. He didn't get home over flat 7 last time. I think he might puke when he sees that hill myself.
I think we just needed that run. Well, come on, don't worry.
To be fair, I think the time and sectionals combo stood up very well with Great Generation, who won a Group 3 in the next race at Donny. So I think the strong form, to be fair.
Oh, so he's torn you down in the most part, and then just giving you that.
I'm not all bad, I'm not all bad.
Very fair. That was very fair, showing both sides of the argument.
Correct.
Then. But 7-1 then about Germanic for Sam. Right, that was the Challenge Cup then. Now, we're going to leave Saturday behind. We're going to look ahead to Sunday, of course, at ParisLongchamp, the feature meeting of the weekend. Then the 3:20 is the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe Group 1 Colts and fillies, 3-year-olds and over a mile for big race of the weekend, live on Sky Sports Racing as well. Now, Look de Vega is just heading Sosie then for favouritism, 7-2 about Look de Vega. And is that a form line you're keen on, Sam?
It's an interesting form line, isn't it? The French look to have a very strong hand this year, which sometimes we don't tend to see in the Arc. But for me, I kind of looked at those prices and I'd have them the other way around. I'm a bit surprised that Sosie isn't the shorter of the pair. I do understand if you go back through the form book, Look de Vega obviously got the better of Sosie, but that form then got reversed in the Arc trial. We're going to take a look at that back here. And I actually felt that the day that Look de Vega beat Sosie, it got a bit stuck on the rail, my selection, and I felt like there was enough of an excuse. Loves Longchamp, absolutely loves the place, and that's another positive for me. Ground as well, I know it's drying up there, but I've got no concerns about the ground for this horse. Looks versatile enough, and to me, looks to really have the class to be just better than everything else in here. Andre Fabre obviously took the same route in 2006 with his winner of the Arc that he's taken with this horse. Lightly raced, more to come. I'm very, very excited about this horse's chances. I know it's a competitive race. Listen, you can easily get carried away with, second favourite in the Arc, but I really, really like the chances. Draw-wise, we're going to have a touch on that, I suppose. I'm quite comfortable with the draw. I am a little bit, I don't want to get too over-egged about the draw. I think it's really easy to sit there and go, Los Angeles is out in 10. I think with Ryan Moore on, that's not actually the end of the world. And the slower ground, I think, will not mean that the draw is as vital. But I've got a positive draw as well, which helps.
Yeah, but Sosie, I guess the build-up to this weekend has been all the talk about the ground, and will Sosie actually handle it? You just said that he's ground versatile then. His pedigree points to the fact that he should relish soft ground, but I guess that's been a bit of a concern people have been talking about for him, and perhaps that's why he's 41.
I don't think he wants the ground getting too quick, because I'm not sure he's got the typical turn of foot like an Arc winner would have. But the one thing I will say about Sosie is, I think when he, I don't know, it'll be this race now, but he looks like a horse who's crying out for an end-to-end gallop, both in how he travels to settle him and how he hits the line, because he's a very strong stayer over this trip. You could see him coming back next year and running really well in a King George in that kind of race. But I don't know how you can back Sosie on times in the sectionals given what Blue Stocking did. Not that, maybe the best way to put that is Blue Stocking looks overpriced, and that form is overpriced in comparison, because she had a much quicker time on the same day of the same course and distance. What was really worrying about Sosie and Look de Vega is they made no inroads into her from 3 out, even though they were in a slower race. But, it's a really open race, isn't it? It's like, I think I had a short list of 7 or 8 potential bets in here, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's probably not the best Arc, if we're being honest, but it's made up for that. It's a brilliant, brilliant betting race.
Is that a bit of domestic bias, though? Because we've got 2 French horses ahead of the betting.
No,
is it that
but then Ace Impact last year, though.
Yeah, but Ace Impact had shown his hand before he'd a real touch of class. Like, if City of Troy went here, I think he'd probably be even money. He would absolutely bolt up in this race. I've no doubt about it. And the ground looks like it would have been coming right for him. But like I said, it's disappointing. I think I don't have one horse on my figures that's rated 120 plus, which is very unusual for this kind of race. But it's made up for that. It's a brilliant betting race.
Yeah, wide open, though, as a result of that. So, like I say, what we perhaps lack in that real top draw, not every single renewal of the Arc can be the top draw, or else none of them would be by the very definition of it. But because of that, we've got a fantastic wide open contest then. So which price interested you the most?
I like Los Angeles. I think everything about him suggests he's getting better.
Yeah.
He's got sharper all year, he's got better all year, and he's got quicker all year. And, we have to remember, once upon a time, he was being mooted for the Ledger. And, he's just I think he's just progressed. And I've got to be honest, like, they ran him in the Irish Champion Stakes, and I was going, what are they doing here? He has got no chance, dropping back to 10 furlongs on good ground against this kind of field. But I actually think marginally it was a career best. Now, we know he travels well to France, because he won this day as a 2-year-old in a Group 1 at France last year at Saint-Cloud. He's just a really likeable, straightforward horse. But the thing is as well, I think he's been hiding plenty of his light under a bushel. He's been getting to the front too soon in races because they can't lead him long enough. He does absolutely nothing when he gets to the front, and it could be a case that a better race brings out the best in him. And I'll finally wrap up with his pedigree. His great-granddam is a half-sister to Urban C, who won this race, I think, in 1993, and who bred See the Stars, who won this race in 2009. And she also bred Galileo. He is bred to win a race like this.
I was just doing my working backs then to come back around.
I probably butchered all those dates.
No, it sounded very impressive. The date sounded spot on.
We'll see. I'll go back and check later. We might have to have an old edit.
Yeah, class pedigree, wonderful horse, beautiful looking horse as well.
He's a stunning
Seems to have
horse.
that kind of preliminary attitude straightened out a bit as well, but that's why I kind of like him. He's just got that bit of spice.
He's a fella now you could see rocking up to the Cannes Festival there. He's such a good looking boy.
He really is, isn't he? And yeah, with the attitude probably to match that area as well.
There's a bit of swagger about him as well.
There is definitely swagger. I really like him, and I would love to see him going and winning.
But are you with him?
No, 5-1 though. Just again, we talk about horses for prices though in the Arc this year, and respect Luke de Vega, respect Sozi, respect Los Angeles, huge. You know, all of them I do, but trying to find that horse that I think has just been forgotten about, and I think that is this one at 16-1, Aventure in here, the 3-year-old filly, getting every allowance under the sun you can be getting for the Arc, and it's become a cliche in itself about the Arc, 3-year-old filly angle, isn't it? And the fact that that's come to the fore so many times in recent years as well then. So I want someone, for all that the ground is drying up, which is frustrating, but we have got those localised showers Sunday morning coming in. If the ground is testing, we know that Aventure will love the ground then. And the fact that she hasn't got that much to find with Blue Stocking, and with only 7 career starts, taking huge strides forwards in each of her runs, with the best coming last time out, second over this course and distance in the Group 1 Prix Vermeil, beating just 3/4 of a length behind Blue Stocking there as well, and in doing so, reversing the French Oaks form of Sparkling Plenty and Survey up in distance. And she did look the winner 1 furlong out in that race as well. So I just think she's typical French-trained horse where she's learning on the job, she's improving all the while. So that was one at a price I didn't want to dismiss.
I nearly very put her up as my long shot this week. I do think she's very interesting. I didn't realise it at the time, but it was only when I went back and watched the replays properly. When she just got to the front and headed Blue Stocking, she took a serious bump from her, and I think that really affected her.
Yeah.
And Blue Stocking is a unit. She is a big, strong girl, and I don't think Adventure is the biggest in stature, and it maybe just put her off. If she gets a clean trip through and is in good order, I can see her at least running into the 4.
Yeah, I just feel it's a race for an upset.
Well, have we forgotten the one horse that everyone, the neutrals, if you like, would love to see win, which is Shin Emperor,
Yeah.
surely? I mean, that's going to be the story, isn't it?
Do it.
I mean...
well, he's a French-bred horse, really, I think, isn't he? He's definitely a European horse.
Yeah,
he's by Siuni, and he's from that good American family that Chad Brown had. Was it not My Sister Nat and all those kind of good horses? He's very well bred, that horse. I just worry about him staying if the rain comes, because the last time he ran over 12 furlongs was at Tokyo, and he ran very well, but Tokyo and Longchamp are 2 different tests in terms of stamina.
So, but yeah, like you say, as a neutral there, I mean, there's no horses you don't want to see winning, to be fair. These are all just fantastic, fantastic horses. Best of luck then to our Riffers Connections, of course, as
Proper
well.
race.
What a momentous win that would be too. I mean, we could go through every single horse here in a lot of detail, but yeah, it is a cracking Arc, and I think we've just proven that in itself, just how cracking a race it is this year. But do let us know who you fancy for the Arc in the comments section below. Now, we looked ahead to Sunday. Of course, we do have the Longchamp meeting on Saturday as well, though. Now, all 3 of us have picked out a horse on Saturday's card at ParisLongchamp. Again, all races live on Sky Sports Racing, that we wanted to direct the viewers in the way of. So, Dec, do you want to go first?
Yes, I'm going to go to the Prix Daniel Wildenstein for a German-trained horse, and maybe not a lot of people have heard of him. This horse, Penalty is his name. Because he trained in Germany, but he's by Frankel. He cost 210,000 euros as a yearling, and the distaff side of it, he's from a German family, and it's a really classy family that do well. I like him. I think he is very, very good, and I think the market has underrated his chance. I think he's got the strongest form in the Wildenstein field. The worries with him are 2 negative. It's going to be his first run outside of France, and he's quite a keen goer. I think a really strong end-to-end gallop where he can get a bit of cover will really show the best of this horse. But Connections have put in a pacemaker, so it looks like the race could pan out absolutely perfect for him. If he's there and he runs his his race, if he runs up to the same level that he did at Baden-Baden on September 1st, I think he will go very well. Ridden by a man who used to be based in the UK and probably the greatest horse racing name in the world, Thor Hammer Hansen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So there you go. I'll be getting the hammer out if this one goes home. So good luck to Thor. I've met him a couple of times on the racetrack and he's a really good lad. And he said this is probably the best horse he's ever ridden. So he's underrated in the market for me. For me, he should be fav.
If penalty goes and wins, that feels like a threat now from you. So that's great to know.
I thought
though.
Declan nailed that myself.
Oh, nicely done
lovely.
there. Yeah. So penalty then in the Prix, Daniel Wildenstein for Deck. Sam, where are we going for yours?
Yeah, I'm going to, lucky enough, be on the course actually on Saturday, and I was going through the card trying to find a bit of a bet to pay the bar bill, and I thought Amnat was a really interesting runner in the Prix Dollar for Owen Burrows. I've got a feeling one of you might be taking me on here with this horse.
Oh, there's only one left.
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
Yeah, really interesting horse. The drying ground would definitely suit his chance, and Owen Burrows, for me, I think I never gave him the respect he deserves, because he doesn't have necessarily the biggest string these days, but this horse was really, really nice last time out. Obviously, he has this ability, Owen, and I've doubted him in the past, to get horses to come back from a break and then they don't bounce as well, which is, I think, such an underrated trait. And I seem to remember one of our early shows, I may have made a comment which I think I was duly proved wrong on. And this horse,
If I remember, you said he'd bounce to the moon.
Yeah, it wasn't this particular horse, but that was the line.
Quote unquote.
Then he bolted up in the King George.
Yeah, there we go. So just shows you, I'm not always right. But this horse, for me, I thought was a really interesting runner, and I just felt like shown versatility, has gone over to Longchamp before and won as well, which I think is always handy to know that a horse can travel. And yeah, best of luck to connections that are taking their chances and heading over.
Do you know what that is? I actually did a feature on that this last year. It's the Shadwell rehabilitation team. They have done such a good job getting these injured horses back. Anmat was one, Alazi was another. They have a seriously good record. They must be great horse people down there at Shadwell Stud. Obviously, they're one of the best in the world.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, we were just looking back at him winning the Prix Dollar in 2022. And like you say, he's a really talented horse. He has had his hold-ups, though, but I do massively respect him. Yet I'm not with him in the Group 2 contest. I didn't realise you were going for the Prix Dollar. That was a surprise to me at the time. I'm with my Prospero in the same race then over a mile, 1.5 furlongs. This comes up at 4:35 on Saturday at Longchamp. And fascinating race. We've just been talking about Amats as well. The fact that he could easily go and win this and be good enough to on the back of another relatively minor break for him. I just thought he was priced up accordingly, and he is ground versatile, so I'm not too concerned about that. For all that Ammat's comeback was likeable, he does still need to build on it to be winning this, and a simple replication won't quite be good enough. So I am with my Prospero, as I say, who will love the soft ground. So I'm really hoping those showers come in, because I'm siding with a lot of soft ground horses. 5-year-old probably won't ever reach the heights that was initially expected of him as a 3-year-old, but he does still remain lightly raced for his age, though, all the same. Last time out, another good effort from him that we were just seeing there in the Group 3 Windhill Stakes at Windsor. Back on slower ground, showing a battling attitude as well, which will hopefully give him the confidence to take forwards. JRB's in the races for 3-year-old. He's a massively talented horse. I just wondered, basing it off a soft ground, whether or not he will not enjoy that if it was from testing.
The Prix Dollar is a cracking race.
Yeah.
I think there's only 7 in
race.
there, but it's a belter. And of course, it's live on Saturday. Where, Kate?
On Sky Sports Racing, yeah. Don't know why we're going for it, really, the pair of us. It's so open, it's so competitive. It's a great race, though.
Yeah, it's a cracker, yeah. I look forward to seeing which one of you get the money.
Let's hope it's one of us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, QJRB going in then in that one. Right, there are some selections then ahead of Saturday. Again, do let us know in the comments section below any other fancies you may have from ParisLongchamp or elsewhere in the comments section below, as we head over to the sofa to give you our best bets of the weekend. The all-important part now, our best bets of the weekend. And Sam, the BetVictor traders are being very generous this week.
Yes, definitely not owing to a mistake that I made.
Not at all.
We've got yourself with a boosted price. I've got a boosted price. They've not boosted my nap, it's my next best. I would love to say it's because of my record with the naps, but it's actually because Deck wants his nap in the same race. And they've gone and also boosted Deck's next best as well.
I don't know what he's doing so right.
Yeah, you've obviously, I think they want to take him on after all the stick he gives them for their prices.
That's probably why, actually, to be fair. So, Deck, your nap and your next best.
Let's hope they don't
boosted.
face the penalty.
Is that going to be your nap then? You've teed it up beautifully.
No, it's not. He's the next best.
No,
We're
it's not
gonna
even that.
look. It's the great race of the year for me. It's my favourite race of the whole season. season. It may not be the best renewal, but I'm going to go big or go home, but I'm going big with Los Angeles as the nap in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Everything about this horse this year suggests he's getting better, sharper and quicker, and I just think he's been, you know, he gets to the front, he does absolutely nothing. I just think we don't know where the end game is with him, and he's a big improving 3-year-old from a top yard. So yes, let's go LA, 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 Los Angeles is what I'll be screaming on Sunday. The next best we've touched on as well is going to be Penalty in the Prix, Daniel Wildenstein. I think he should be favoured. I just hope he's going to take the travelling well and he settles well, but he does have a pacemaker in there. If Thorhammer Hansen can get him to switch off and get some cover in a strongly run race, I'm hoping he will come to the fore. And then the long shot is going to be Wilshire, who's running in Berkshire. He is a double figure price. I think he should be single figures in what is an open race. Just hope he gets some pace to run at because he's a hold-up horse, but he will have no problem in soft ground for the brilliant team of Mr. William Haggis.
For William Haggis then as well. Now, 5-1 to 6-1 for Los Angeles is your boost. Penalty also being boosted 4-1 to 9-2. So a pair of boosts then for Deck for this one. So
Mucho
yes,
gracias.
Yeah,
and you're not moaning about the prices?
Well, they could have been bigger, but you know, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be positive.
Sam, who are we boosting for you?
Yes, well, the boost is going to be my next best, but let's start with the nap. I'm going for the big race as well because I disagree with Declan. I think that Soze will handle whatever happens at the ground. I think the horse will come out on top. I just really like the profile of the horse. Yes, lightly raced, Deck, I do take your point, and maybe next year could be the horse's year, but I think this year there isn't a standout candidate, so I think something unexposed needs to put its best hoof forward, and I thought Soze was probably the best place to do that at the prices, and I'd be hopeful that we might get slightly bigger than 4-1. Who knows? We shall see. My boost is going to actually come, which is my next best, which is English Oak, back down to 6 furlongs. I think will actually be absolutely fine for this horse on the softer ground, and I felt the Newbury run was a step back in the right direction, and I think if we can get the horse just going a little bit quicker out the stalls, no dwelling this time, straight out, I think English Oak for Waffenham Racing give them another big Saturday winner. And then finally, my long shot. It felt really rude to kind of not try and find a long shot for the Arc. And Sunway hasn't won this season, but Deck, if you like LA, I think you can understand why I like Sunway, given that Irish Derby form, not a million miles off, 40-1. I was looking for something as an each-way price that could be staying on at the end, and I felt David Minissier was very complimentary about this horse on At the Races earlier, on Sky Racing, I should say, earlier this week, and I'd be hopeful that that just could be a horse that will outrun his price. But for me, all about Soze.
All about Soze for the nap then at 4-1, but we are boosting, well, I say we.
Is it Soze or Soci?
Soze?
Soze or Soci?
I don't know.
Winner. That's what it'll be, Deck.
Well, yeah. Sam was asking me how do you pronounce it, and I said no chance.
just to reiterate your own funny joke there as well. 7-2 to 4-1. Then English Oak is Sam's next best bet. That is being boosted. Make sure to head to the website or to utilise the QR code on the screen now to take advantage of that boost. Now, my nap is being boosted. I'm keeping it very plain and straightforward then, because Sam Farner is going to be my nap in the Group 1 Sun Chariot Stakes. Love this filly. She just deserves another success as well. Solid showing last autumn. Hopefully that will be able to translate to her 3-year-old season as well over the 1 mile trip again as well, which poses no issues, and she can take advantage of the Gosden lack of form, hopefully. Next best bet is going to be Aventure in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe at 16-1. Just think she's overpriced in this field. She will love the testing ground, should it come up testing. She is also improving all the while then, and while she's getting all of the 3-year-old filly allowances. And then Mersky in the Challenge Cup Heritage Handicap is going to be my long shot. Of course, my main player is Kirat, but bigger prices than Mersky. David O'Mara trained, and for all that he was beaten as a favourite last time out at Ayr in a 1 mile handicap. And he's not a horse who really likes to get his head in front, admittedly, but his form when he was second at York, though, in the Clipper Heritage Handicap is solid. 1 place in front of subsequent Group 3 winner Holloway Boy, so still just running off of £2 above that. So Mersky at 16-1 for me, then as for long shot, but Tanfana, as I say, is my nap, who is going to be boosted 5-2 to 11-4. Again, do head to the website or utilise the QR code to take advantage of that boost. Right, That is everything from us then on what has been a blockbuster show. So big thank you to Dec and Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. Big thank you to you at home for watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. Enjoy the action, and we'll be back next Friday at the same time to preview the pick of the weekend action.